Hey guys, Tyler at No 40 Fly Shop in Coeur d'Alene. Today we are going to tie a cool little steelhead fly that I came up with a long time ago. I call it the Bachelor, kind of the cool story behind it. My bachelor party with some good friends of mine the night prior, I was sitting down at the bench just thinking up some different flies to tie, and kind of just created this one just out of maybe boredom or creativity. And next day we went down and ended up catching 2 steelhead in about 10 minutes apart from each other. So fly worked great. I've been fishing it ever since, and I've caught a lot of steelhead on it. Real traditional fly, hair wing fly. It's got your squirrel tail wing tail, pretty basic, good old steelhead fly, I guess. Yeah, there's going to be some components here that, as far as how we tie the wing in, it's kind of cool, a little bit different way. We'll show you. Keeps the wing standing up a little bit taller than just simply tying with a squirrel tail or a calf tail wing in just by the butts and tying it in. Kind of a neat little technique I learned a long time ago, but cool fly. You can tie them in a little bit bigger profile. This is a 1/0 hook. You could do a 2/0, do more of a low water type, sparse dress. It's up to you, but pretty basic little fly. I do weight mine. I put a little bit of lead underneath here, which I don't think a ton of guys do for early season, but I like getting the fly just a little bit more in the water column. Cast well in the wind. Again, we're primarily doing this on a spey rod. So anyways, it's called Bachelor, and love to show you how to tie it. So we're going to start out with a little bit of 025 lead. We don't need a ton of it. Let's go and start by wrapping in maybe about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch amount of thread, or pardon me, lead, and we're going to scoot it up right behind the fold over in the eye here. Okay, this is a traditional steelhead hook, Gamakatsu. So right up there, and we're going to lock it into place with our lead or thread. Okay, once you got it locked in, keep your bobbin in front of the lead there. And next we're going to put our wing in first, which sounds a little backwards, but an old trick I learned a long time ago from some old steelhead fly tire guys. So we're going to take our squirrel about yay much, turn it around. We're going to have the natural tips pointing out forward, like so. Okay, gosh, my ice keeps slipping there. And check, pull your hair back and check to see how much of an eye you have left here, because we're going to finish it off right in front there. You don't want to be crowded too far forward where it's going to crowd the eye, so we're leaving a little bit of a gap here. Okay, and then we're going to move the bobbin to the back here. And next we're going to tie in our silver and gold tinsel. And I typically do, we're going to go gold side towards you. And this is the 2-sided older tinsel, mylar tinsel, that has gold on one side and silver on the other. It's up to you. You could do gold or silver. I don't care. Doesn't really matter. And then we're going to tie some wire in, and this is going to help reinforce the tinsel. So if you catch a couple fish or just casting the fly throughout the day, it's going to help hold that together a little bit. So just give it a little tag here. That's all you need. About maybe 4 wraps. Trim it off. And then I'm going to counter rib with the wire here. And if you notice, I've left a small gap here too. Okay, and we're going to tie our tail in now. Okay, this clump of hair is going to be a little bit less than what we use for our wing. And maybe just about half as much. Get it stacked. Okay, go ahead and set your tail in there. And that's going to sit right behind the lead in that little gap that you left. So pull your tail back slightly. We're going to put 1, maybe 2 wraps of thread there. Okay. Next, we're going to get our wire. Tie our wire in along the shank here. Don't just tie it in the back here, or it'll pull out on you. Lash it down pretty good, and then we're going to go to our dubbing. You can do basic black is how I originally tied it. This stuff's kind of cool. This is that new Sinyo's Fusion dub. It's got a little bit of blue in there, kind of cool looking, but primarily black. I fish a lot of black flies down on the Clearwater, Grand Ron, Snake. Kind of a simpleton when it comes to picking my flies out, but just keep your fly in the water. Just keep fishing, keep swinging, find that fish. If they're in the mood, they're going to eat it. All right, so get a good amount of dubbing on there. We're going to move it forward. And it's okay if it's not super tight on there, guys. We're going to come through and pick a little bit of the dubbing out at the end here. Next, we're going to counter rib the wire. So again, counter ribbing, we're going the opposite direction as we did with the other material, and that's to help hold it together. Okay. If you want, you can come through now and pick out, or you can do it at the end of the fly. I find it a little bit easier to come through here now and dress it out a little bit here. You can do a dubbing brush if you want, create a dubbing loop and do all that, but you don't have to. You can just do a simple old school dub on there. This stuff's cool though. It's got pretty long fibers in it, so once you get it picked out, it looks kind of cool. Alright, that's probably good enough. Alright, next we're going to do our schlappen for our collar. So this is a pretty good size hook. It's a 1/0. You know, if you're doing a little bit smaller, low water fly, you might want to just use some saddle hackle, but we're going to use some schlappen here, and this is collaring schlappen. Nice long fibers. I'm going to start at the tip here. We're going to pull, well, if you guys tie soft hackles, you know how to do this. So we're going to pull back at the tip, prep the feather like that, and then tie it in. Okay. You don't need a lot here, just maybe about 2 wraps. Or more if you want. But schlappen's got really nice long fibers to it. Okay, so here's the part that's kind of cool here. So we're going to take this wing and we're going to start kind of intersecting it here. Pull a little bit back as you go. So one thing about squirrel tail, if you guys have tied with it, it's very slick. Calf tail can be a problem too, but what this does is it creates a really stand-up type wing. You know, so when you guys are swinging the fly through the current, this is going to stay a little bit more tall, if you will, and create more of a profile. So I don't really capture and try and tie it way down kind of like this. I don't like that. I'll bring it back a little bit, create a smaller head. That's all you need right there. Okay. So we're going to tie it off. Good to go. And then next, what we're going to do, guys, is you know, I know a lot of guys are into the UV glue thing, you know, for finishing heads, and I like it. It's all right, you know, but I still kind of prefer a little bit of epoxy. So I'm using a 2-ton clear. I think this is 5 minute. You can get it in 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. Don't get the yellow, get the clear. And if you don't have one, they're kind of handy, but a turning wheel. So I'm just going to go through the motions here, but if you have a turning wheel, you guys can do a lot of fun, different creative stuff with epoxy out there, and it creates a really, really bulletproof head. So you're going to I'm getting my glue prepped here on the table. You don't need much. I'm just going to do enough for maybe 2 flies here. And make sure you mix it very thoroughly. You don't need much, just a touch. Okay. The reason you have the epoxy turning wheel, if you guys are new to it, epoxy takes a little bit to dry, so we're going to put it on the wheel and it'll slow turn like a rotisserie, and it'll set the glue as it dries and not let it sag. But man, when that's done, that's a rock solid head on there, and it looks cool too. There's a lot of other applications you guys can use that epoxy for when you're tying flies. And looks like I missed just a little bit there, so I'm going to make sure I get all of it. So yeah, good looking bug. Great for steelhead and traditional early season, like on the Clearwater, the Grand Ron, the Snake. It's into July here, first part of August, and this is when we start getting all fired up about steelhead. We've got a few in the river this year, and we're gonna go get them. All right.